talked about how he wanted to live.
I feel like I took my own life. And that's one thing to take my life, but I have 2 children.
It's about sex and about death, and our American culture is very reluctant to talk about either of those things.
I got a second job in 1993, January 1st. I became a doctor, a nurse, a social worker.
AIDS does not discriminate. It doesn't matter how old you are, what color. You know, it just doesn't matter.
America, wake up. We are all in a struggle between life and death.
Now live from America's Talking Studios, Terry Anzur.
Today is the day of compassion, when the cable television industry bands together in support of those living with HIV and AIDS. Tonight we will talk about the virus and what you should know about it. Let me introduce some of our special guests on tonight's program. Joey, a typical teenager, except that he had surgery when he was 4 and developed AIDS when he was 8. Sean Strube, gay activist and editor of Pause magazine, devoted to those who, like him, are living with HIV or AIDS. In the United States, women account for 50% of new HIV infections, as 19-year-old Dottie knows only too well. The love of her life is her son, Niger. She wants to see him grow up, but Dottie has AIDS. And Aileen Getty, founder of Dallas House, a home for AIDS-infected women like herself. President Clinton's AIDS czar, Patsy Fleming, will be joining us live later in the program to take your calls at 1-800-988-TALK. In the past 14 years, 250,000 people have died of AIDS in the United States. It is believed that 1 million people are currently HIV infected, and for every one lost, there are many left behind who mourn. We begin with Glenn, who tells us about Jeff, the special person he loved and lost.
He was he was the greatest person I ever met, period. That's it. He was bigger than life. He was an artist. He made every single situation a party that you would never, ever forget. This is my soulmate. I felt it right away. And he did too, although at the time I wasn't sure. And we were walking, and I could tell there was something funny about this day. It was a Sunday. We were always together on Sunday, reading the Sunday paper outside of my deck that overlooked Los Angeles. And we went for the walk, and he said, "I have something I want to tell you." And I'm thinking, oh, what? You know, I'm moving back to Chicago. And he said, "I'm HIV positive." And it's funny because looking back, I didn't know a lot of people that were HIV positive, even though I was an openly gay man. I had friends that died, but not a lot. Maybe I was naive, but it didn't bother me. Believe it or not, it wasn't denial. I didn't know. I absolutely did not know. I thought, okay, it's fine. I think, you know, I'm somebody, you live for the moment. Okay, he's got HIV. Okay, boom, 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 boom. This is my life. You don't live thinking, well, this is going to be somebody that I'm going to bury someday. You don't live thinking, someday I'm going to be hooking up his IV when I come home from work. You don't think of those things. I didn't think of those things. I shouldn't say you don't. I didn't think of those things. I don't think it was denial. I just don't think I thought about it that much. I was in love.
How did that affect your intimate relationship?
You have to understand that I think he was the first person I really loved. I had to love him. It couldn't be lust. We didn't have sex. Oh, that sounds strange, okay? Hello, America. We didn't have sex. We didn't.
Was that because of the HIV or?
When you know you're with somebody that has HIV and they're HIV positive, it is like holding a loaded gun to your head. For me, it was. For me, it was. When you are intimate, there's always in the back of your mind, this could kill me. Be careful. But you learn to just love this person. I learned to get into his soul. was the first time for me. You know, I was like 28 years old, 29. It was the very, very first time for me, and it was wonderful. And it was the best relationship of my life. We went into 1993. He lost his eyesight within about a week.
That quickly?
Mm-hmm.
How did he deal with it?
He dealt fine with it. We had social workers, we had therapists, we had everybody waiting on deck to just deal with the fact that here is a man that is an artist, and he, you know, made good money as an artist, and all of a sudden, guess what? He can't do it anymore. He was fine. I wasn't. I would go home every night from that hospital. I don't know how I ever got home on that the 101 freeway. I don't know. I just, every night I screamed. For the first time in the 3.5 years with this person, I realized he's going. And guess what? I'm staying here. This became my whole life, you know. That was the beginning. Guess what? I got a second job in 1993, January 1st. I became a doctor, a nurse, a social worker. I hate needles. I hate blood. You know what I was doing? Super Bowl Sunday, 1993? I was hooking them up to an IV in our house. I hate it.
But you didn't run. You stayed. You hung in there. Yeah. What kept you going?
Terry, listen. Don't. I'm not a saint. May you never know what this is like. God gives us the power to get through anything. You hear these stories about these mothers that pick up cars because the kid is underneath and they don't know where this power came from. You put emotions aside. I used to go for walks and leave them alone, and that's when I would like scream and yell. I was angry, Terry. I was no saint. Listen, I wanted my damn life back. I was angry at God. I was angry at Jeff. I was angry at, I was angry at everything. Here I am in Los Angeles. I have a blind man with stuff all over his face who's dying of something, and he wants to go out. I don't want to take you out. You know why I don't want to take you out? I'm tired of people staring at us. I'm tired of people pointing. I'm tired of people whispering. For the first time in my life, I think I really, really confronted prejudice. You go to the Gap, and it's almost like personalized shopping that, people grab you. And hi, can I help you? And they stay with you the whole time. It was the very first time that I took them to the Gap because I needed new clothes for a new job. Nobody came over to help us. Nobody came over to help us, and it wasn't packed. Everybody stayed right away. And I'm so glad that he didn't have his sight, because if he saw stuff like this, it would have hurt him. He didn't see it. I never told him about it. He probably heard things, but it's so good that he didn't see what he looked like. He was a beautiful man. He never got to see what he looked like, and that was like God's gift to him.
Now, he decided eventually that he wanted to go home to Aurora, Illinois, to his family as he got closer to the end. When he made that decision, what was that like for you?
I made the decision. I made the decision that he had to go home. I was starting a new show. I couldn't take care of him anymore.
But what you were doing already was superhuman. Most people could not do what you had done.
I drove him to the airport. His mother took the rent-a-car, and I drove him to the airport. We didn't talk. I didn't want to talk to him. Get in the car, go. And at the airport, he had this tree that he absolutely loved as a kid.
And you talked about it? You talked about the tree?
Yeah, it was in Aurora when he was growing up. And he said to me, he was in a wheelchair because he was so weak. And LAX, it's like a mile to your airplane. And he said, you know something? 'Cause he was always strong. He couldn't see my tears. Thank you. Thank you. He couldn't see them. He said, you were the tree. You were my strength. Thank you. And then he was wheeled away.
We're from Richard Brown's Film Quest, and are we excited?
Next on America After Hours.
Actor David Keith will be here. Plus, we've got the most memorable movie quotes ever. Kyle Justin Carlisle, the 5-year-old karate champ, and music from The Suits.
That's next on America After Hours with Brian Tracy.
You can deliver a meal. You can make a visit. You can answer a phone. You can make a difference. Help in the fight against AIDS. Anytime, any place, anywhere. Be smart. Take part.
The O.J. Simpson trial. The world is watching, and America's talking about it. We have 3 ways to keep you up to date on the day's court proceedings. It's O.J. Simpson coverage from day 1 to the final verdict, starting every morning with Wake Up America.
To the murders of his ex-wife.
Then once an hour, we'll bring you the latest on the Simpson trial update. And AT in Depth looks back on the day's court proceedings. The O.J. Simpson trial. 3 ways to keep you up to date, only on America's Talking. Join the conversation.
Time to get live on Prodigy. Joan and Susan use Prodigy's chat feature to talk with parents around the country.
Every young mother worries. It could be anything. Ear infections to speech problems. You just want to talk to someone.
And you do that on the computer?
No, don't make it sound so impersonal. Prodigy has this chat feature. You communicate in real time so people see what you're typing as you type.
You mean it's like a whole group of parents in one room?
Yes, at about this time each week. Oh, look, they've started. Her son keeps getting in fights. My son went through the same phase. Just hope it passes.
Can I try?
Yeah, here.
My little girl, too. Kids can be so cruel.
Now, here's a response. You want to protect them, but not be overprotective.
Exactly. I guess I'm not the only mom with this dilemma.
Here. I think you have some things to talk about.
Prodigy lets you talk directly to members about things that are important to you. For free software and 10 free hours your first month, call 1-800-979-LIVE and get live today.
Early Saturday morning, one can observe a little-known ritual. It's a gathering of like-minded souls awaiting the arrival of their financial advisor. One who foretold the rally in bonds, saw money being invested overseas before it left our shores, and who thousands turn to for advice on mutual funds. But most remarkable is the fee this advisor charges. $3 an issue. To get this advisor to visit your home, subscribe to Barron's. It's easier to use, and you'll receive this Barron's investment guide free. This $13.95 value offers insights on stocks, global investing, and mutual funds. Everything you need to know to turn money into wealth. Get 13 weeks of Barron's and the investment guide, all for only $34.
Call now toll-free in the continental U.S., 800-952-2626. That's 800-952-2626.
I had a husband that I loved to death. I cheated. I had to come home. Not only I cheated, but I had HIV. And I had 2 babies.
Like when I didn't really know much about it and I knew I could die, it was like scary because I was only 8 years old and stuff. But probably took me about 2 weeks to get over it. And then I started meeting so many new kids at the hospital and stuff who had it and who were living with it. There's not even half, less than half of the kids that I met when I first started are dead right now. So there's still a lot of them that, not a lot, but there is enough that I remember that I've been fighting with from that point.
I was scared, I was hurt. You know, I didn't know what to do because, like I said, this doesn't happen to